Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. But the true origin is not about an innocent egg. Behind the nursery rhyme is a hidden legacy of irreversible human ruin, born in the taverns of Restoration London, where one drink could shatter a life beyond repair. What if this childhood rhyme was never meant for children at all? Restoration London thrived on excess. Restoration London was crowded with alehouses and taverns, their air thick with smoke and the sharp tang of spilled spirits. In those rooms, a drink called Humpty Dumpty became notorious. No recipe book survives. The Oxford English Dictionary records it as brandy boiled with ale. This wasn't a gentle tipple. Ale, already a staple for rich and poor, was transformed by the addition of strong imported brandy. The mixture was heated until it steamed, poured into heavy communal tankards, and passed from hand to hand. Each gulp burned on the way down, leaving lips tingling and faces flushed. Within minutes, the room would sway. Patrons hunched over benches along the walls, their bodies slack and their voices slurred. Some tried to steady themselves, gripping the edge of a stone ledge or a battered wooden seat, anything to keep from sliding to the floor. The drink's effect was immediate, a rush of heat, and then a creeping numbness. Laughter turned to groans as bodies sagged and heads lolled. The name itself spoke to the aftermath. Humpty Dumpty humped over, ready to be dumped. No one left upright for long. In the cold outside, men stumbled into gutters, their dignity abandoned with their empty cups. The city's morning found them sprawled and broken, victims of a concoction designed for oblivion. The rhyme's earliest roots are here, in the dark corners of London's taverns, where one drink could erase a man's past and future in a single night. Francis Gross's 1785 dictionary opened a new chapter for Humpty Dumpty. No longer just the name of a drink, it became a label for a certain kind of person, a short, clumsy figure, the sort left hunched and broken by too many rounds at the tavern. In Gross's words, a Humpty Dumpty was someone whose body bore the signs of habitual collapse, a byword for physical ruin. The term slipped from cup to character, trailing the reek of spilled ale and lost dignity. 12 years later, the rhyme stepped into print. Samuel Arnold's 1797 chapbook, Juvenile Amusements, captured Humpty Dumpty's fall in simple lines. There is no mention of eggs or royalty, just a disaster that draws a crowd. The verse reads, 80 men and 80 more could not make Humpty Dumpty where he was before. 160 people gather, struggling to lift the wreckage. Their effort is useless. The wall is not a fortress, but a low barrier, a seat or ledge where a ruined man slumps, watched by neighbors who can do nothing to help. The scene is communal, almost clinical, a body so damaged that no number of hands can restore. The rhyme's earliest message, start. Once broken, some things cannot be put right, not by friends, not by strangers, not by anyone. The story now belongs to the page, but its warning is as raw as ever. Across Europe, the pattern repeats with chilling consistency. In Denmark, children sang of Lille Trille, a small boy perched on a wall, watched by his friends. The game ends when he tumbles, splitting open on the ground. No one tries to help. The sight is entertainment, not tragedy. In Germany, the story grows darker. Hulken Pumperken, a wedding guest, climbs a church steeple during the celebration. He falls, his body shattering across the bride's dress in front of the horrified congregation. There is no rescue, no attempt at repair, only the spectacle of ruin. These tales, passed from mouth to mouth, share a single thread: destruction that cannot be undone. The audience is always present, silent or laughing, but powerless. The walls and steeples change, but the outcome never does. Once the fall comes, the ending is final. Whether it is a child, a reveler, or a stranger, the message is the same. Some breaks are final, no matter who is watching. The English rhyme is not alone in its bleakness. Its European cousins echo the same fear, dressed in local colors. Yet the English version stands apart, not for its violence, but for its roots in the ordinary, ruin brought on by everyday vice, not myth or mischief. The motif is universal, the fear unmistakable. By 1810, Humpty Dumpty had slipped into the hands of children. The rhyme appeared in Gamma Gurton's Garland, a slim booklet of songs and riddles for young readers. The words on the page were familiar, but something had changed. Instead of a ruined man sprawled on a tavern bench, the riddle now hinted at something delicate and mysterious. The answer, tucked away in the back of the book, was an egg. Illustrators began to play with this idea. Early drawings showed a round, white figure with stick limbs and a startled face perched high above the ground. The EGG shape was no accident. It was a perfect substitute for the riddle's fragile subject. In classrooms, children recited the lines and tried to guess the answer, never suspecting the rhyme's older, darker layers. The transformation was almost complete. Humpty Dumpty was no longer a warning about human wreckage or the limits of communal rescue. He was a puzzle to be solved, a harmless bit of wordplay for idle afternoons. The egg motif swept aside the old meanings, stripping the rhyme of its social weight. What remained was a story about breakage, told in a form gentle enough for the youngest listener. The cautionary tale had become a nursery game, its sting hidden behind a painted shell. In March 1813, the rhyme surfaced in the halls of British power. A single voice in Parliament recited those familiar lines, not as a nursery game, but as a weapon aimed at the government's failures in India. Famine and revolt gripped the colonies. The East India Company's mismanagement had spiraled into national scandal, and the rhyme's image of helplessness, no king's horses and no king's men able to fix the damage, became a stinging indictment. The words echoed across the chamber, stripping away innocence and laying blame squarely at the feet of authority. What began as a riddle now served as a mirror, reflecting royal impotence for all to hear. By 1835, the rhyme's words shifted again, now aiming squarely at the machinery of power itself. A new version began to circulate. Not all the king's money, nor all the king's men. With a single phrase, the blame widened. No longer just soldiers or servants, but the full weight of royal wealth and bureaucracy stood accused of failure. The rhyme's helpless crowd became a faceless government, unable to buy back what was lost. In pamphlets and songbooks, this variant echoed through a society bruised by economic crisis, bank collapses, and food riots. The words proved elastic, bending to fit the anxieties of the age, each generation finding its own reflection in the broken figure on the wall. Modern storytellers have tried to rewrite Humpty Dumpty's past, spinning tales of cannons, kings, and ancient battles. The Colchester Cannon story, for example, first appeared on a local tourist board website in 1996. No trace of it exists in Civil War records or Victorian folklore. The rhyme's earliest printed form dates to 1797, long after the 1648 siege it supposedly recalls. Richard III's defeat at Bosworth in 1485 is even further removed, predating the rhyme by more than 3 centuries. The Victoria County History of Essex, a definitive local record, makes no mention of any nursery rhyme connection. These legends are inventions layered over the original, each one further burying the real history under wishful thinking and clever marketing. Today, nursery rhymes still mask the darker truths societies would rather ignore. As stories soften, history's warnings fade. The real danger isn't a fall, it's forgetting what can't be fixed. Sometimes the cracks we cover are the ones that shape us most. What do you see behind the rhyme?